So that moves us on to W, which is want. Ultimately, people just have to want. They have to want what you do. But people confuse it with need, which is the second one, the W and N in Dawn-C. These two are separate things. Someone could want what you do, but if they don't need it, then there's a half chance that they might not buy it. And I think particularly in B2B world, actually now B2C, because of what's happened in the world, I would probably suggest that in the absence of need, someone isn't going to buy your thing. So you need to make sure that there is a genuine need for what you do. And again, if there isn't, then that's a really good time to step out, because if you're not fixing a problem for somebody, and if you're not adding value beyond the cost of the thing that you do, then you're wasting your time trying to take them through a sales process. I would say probably more now than ever, identifying need is absolutely critical, absolutely critical. And the last one is competition, C. Often missed during the qualification process. People are afraid to ask the question of, if you don't do this with me, Mr. Customer, what are you going to do? Because that will tell you a lot about their preferences and the things that they like. And it might enable you to go then back through the other parts of Dawn-C and then retrospectively answer those questions. And don't ever fall into the trap of thinking that because what you do is quite unique, that there is no competition. Because one competitor that everybody on this call will have, and especially now, is that person doing nothing. So that person doing nothing still creates the same net result for you, right? You don't get the opportunity, you don't get the business. So that will then come back into whether they actually genuinely need or want the thing that you do, or whether they can afford it, or whether they're the right person. You work your way back up through Dawn-C. But always understand what that other person's option is. And that option might be to do nothing, and you will still end up without the business. So if you can look at all of your opportunities that you've got in your pipeline right now, and all of the people that you've been speaking to over the last few weeks or the last few days, just go back through all those opportunities one at a time and apply Dawn-C to that, and look at how you can qualify some of that opportunity out. Otherwise, you're wasting your time and you're wasting their time too. And that's not going to win you any friends or sales.
I think authority is a really interesting one on that as well, Rich. I mean, we talk about this quite a lot, but you talk about the amount of different people involved in it, 5.4 different people involved in a decision-making process. I think we often misunderstand who necessarily those people are. And over the last few days, I mean, we've really made an effort at Sales Geek with any clients that we have within our funnel, not just engaging with the person who's engaging with us, or the sales director or the managing director that we know is going to be the decision maker, but really taking time to engage with the supporters who are going to be within that business. And we do have more time on our hands at the moment. I think all sales professionals will. And that first of all comes down to knowing where we're going to spend that time on which opportunities, also how we're going to do that. The more that you can spread your wings within a business, if you're dealing with a company that's got 20 employees, if you can get 10 of those as supporters of what you're doing or on board with it, however you decide to do that, that's 10 Neil Welsh, 10 of those on. It's so much more likely that that deal is going to come through. And yes, it might take a little bit longer for that deal to come through. I mean, pipelines haven't stopped at the moment. There seems to be this idea out there in the sector that pipelines have stopped. They are stagnant. This completely isn't true. Things might have slowed down a bit, but I think realistically within the next week or 2 weeks, things are going to start flowing again. The idea of everybody working from home has hit people quite badly. When you look at I suppose it would have took us probably 2 or 3 more years to get to the stage where we are now, where people are remote working, doing things through Zoom, doing things through webcam. That's come in the space of like a week. In a week, the whole of the UK economy has moved the way that they're doing things. And now, I'm going to be sat here for the next 3-4 weeks behind this desk. That just means that I'm changing the way that I'm taking information in. So when you start looking at the deals you've got in your pipeline or outbound prospecting, we also have to change the way that we're engaging with people, and looking at the different ways to do that is really important. So, I mean, I've got a client that I met up with yesterday. And when I say met up with, I had a virtual beer with the person at 4:30 yesterday afternoon, which normally is someone that, I'd have a coffee with, or I'd have I haven't had a beer with them yet, apart from yesterday. But, they're a client of ours that I'm very friendly with, get on very well with. But I just had to change the way that we were interacting. And we spent an hour yesterday having a really good conversation, talk about what was going on in their world, what was going on in our world. They're a client of ours, but they helped me with some stuff as well. They've got a lot of knowledge from their side of things that are going on. But I think looking at the ways that we're engaging with people at the moment is the biggest way that sales professionals can sort of hit the top of where they're trying to be. We are going to have to adjust our targets. We are going to have to adjust how we're looking at the day and what a successful day looks like. But if we don't adjust our behaviours, the behaviours of the whole UK economy and the worldwide economy at the moment have massively shifted and massively changed. So just making sure that as salespeople, we're looking at how are people taking in information? How do my clients want to speak to me? How do they want to deal with me? And just making sure that we're adjusting that accordingly, I think is really important. I think the biggest mistake that salespeople could make at the moment would be not adapting and to keep trying to use the methods that they've been using without adapting to the new ones.
Yeah, I think Finch just hit the nail on the head there. That, there's always winners and losers in every situation, and the world's changed a lot, but that always creates its own opportunity. And actually, a lot of people's sales processes are going to feel a little bit different, but there's a couple of things that haven't changed, and one of those is still maintaining momentum in a sales process. And you might think that's going to be harder now. I'd actually argue it's probably easier because you're going to be able to apply more attention and more focus to the opportunity. You've got having qualified out all the NAF stuff. You can put your focus and time, which means you can increase the touch points with people. And often, I mean, going back much earlier in my career, I inherited a sales team in a particular business, and it was mainly kind of account driven. The way that they sold, they had a sort of finite amount of accounts that they generated their annual revenue from. And we decided to focus on the time in between the meetings. So a lot of people from a sales training perspective will work on skills and techniques, etc., while you're with somebody and what that human to human interaction looks like. But actually, we all spend more time away from our customers than we do with them. So even if you have a customer that you are really close with and might be one of your key accounts for argument's sake, and even if you saw them every week, there's still 4 hours and sort of 4 days and 7 hours of that week where you're not with them and they're not with you, and therefore you might not be high up in their attention span. So, and often for a lot of people are using your stuff or buying your stuff while you're not there. They don't actually physically use it and buy it in a conversation. They do it while they're away from you. They see the value of your product while they're away from you. So you need to be in their attention span during that time. And that's where social media plays such a key role in that, as well as other touch points. And none of us are tied up in as much travel anymore, or tons and tons of meetings every day. A lot of people are sat at home offices on Zoom doing this stuff, and so you've actually got more time to give more attention. And I think if there's one thing that you can definitely do over these next few weeks and months is give more attention to the customers you've already got, because you need to love the crap out of them right now, because they're going to need you more than ever. And also for people that aren't your customers yet, but you are already in conversation with, just double down on the efforts with those guys. There was a question that popped up actually on the chat group, which is just going to address. Danny Smith asked about establishing whether people have the dollar, as it were. And yeah, there are online things that you can do. I know the guys at CloudSource have an online system where they can check credit limits and bits and pieces in companies. But one thing that's really, really simple for me is to have the cost conversation earlier in your conversations with people. I think there's a habit with people. We meet somebody, we qualify them in, we go through our sales process, and for some people that might be a short sales process. For some people that can be quite extensive. If I know companies that put in days and days and hours of time of technical demonstrations and complex proposals and all this stuff before they get to a point where they kind of unveil the cost at the end. I think we often fall into that trap of leaving the price thing to the very end of our process. A really, really easy way to establish whether somebody can or wants to afford what you do is to tell them as soon as you can what the likely costs of it are going to be, rather than hiding it until the very, very end, because there is an amount of building value through the sales process. But one of my least favorite cliches in sales is that price is an issue in the absence of value. And sometimes it can be the difference between someone spending a little bit more, a little bit less. But price is also an issue in the absence of money. And I think if you are forthright with people at the very beginning and say, look, Mr. Customer, there's still some stuff I need to learn about you and the thing we're going to do for you. However, based on what I've learned so far, it's going to be roughly somewhere between this and this. If their eyes pop out their head and they fall off their seat and go, wow, I've only got X and that's 10% of what you told me it's going to be, then you can sell all the value in the world and they're probably not going to find the difference between what you want to charge and what they want to pay. So just get it out there. Stop being British and reserved about money and just tell people what your stuff costs early and qualify them out if they can't afford it.
I think going back to what you said about social media there is really interesting, Mitch, because I'm seeing, I don't know about you, but over the last probably week especially, I have been flooded on the LinkedIn feed with more job adverts or more LinkedIn messages than I think I've ever had before. And it does seem to be this theme that we're going as a, let's say as an industry, but as an industry, sales seems to be going, do you know what? There's not as much money around at the moment, so I'm just going to be a marketeer and I'm just going to fire out as many messages as I can rather than selling. And when you look at social media, I think this is one of the issues that people make, is social media for us is a lead generation tool. It's not the full part of our sales process and it's not the full part of our sales funnel. It helps us generate leads. And there's two sides of social selling for me. There's social selling, which is using social media to generate appointments and generate leads. And there's social marketing, which is making people aware of what we do. And I'm seeing this massive sort of shift at the moment in, I think, in mindsets that people are going, we can't sell anything at the moment. We can't. It's just not possible. Which just definitely isn't true. And then from that, they're going, right, well, I'm a marketer and pushing out as many messages as they can to try and generate some leads, which realistically, you know, we're just going for that one sort of to many approach. I'm just thinking time-wise, Rich, we're probably about 10 past now. Is it worth us just taking some live questions from people and sort of seeing if anyone's got anything they want to talk about? I was going to say, guys, if you want to just comment on the Zoom group chat with, I don't know if you put Q or if you raise your hand, and we'll see if we can do some questions live and see if anyone's got anything specifically.
This could be fun.
This could be fun.
Take the first question. Mark Kirk has got one in the chat box. Mark, do you want to just unmute your microphone and deliver it direct to the geeks?
Morning, Mark.
Good morning, buddy.
Good morning. Yeah, it's a bit of a. I'm not great with technology.
Hey, yeah, we are.
We've got. We started work on a specific offering, and we started work on it in September. So we certainly didn't have this in mind for it. However, because of this situation, it's going to really help people. Our problem is, especially being in the insurance industry as well, we're not fondly thought of, is that we're fearful of publicising it because it looks like we're trying to profiteer from this situation. But we just didn't have this in mind for it when we started work on it last year. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are.
Vinchy, you or me?
Well, to start that off for me, Mark, I think there's two ways of looking at this. If you keep that product at home that you've designed in a box until all this is over and then start broadcasting it, you have not helped anybody out there with that. And from what you said there, I have no idea what it is, but it sounds like a very good product at the moment from what you said to help people at this time. So you've got two options yourself. You're going to probably put it out. Say, for example, you put it out for 100 people. One of those might come back to you and go, you know what, Mark, why are you profiteering off this crisis? The other 99 of them will push it out to their network, might buy it themselves, or, you know, when you start looking at the odds of it, some of those people will buy that and will start using it and will be thankful for you. You're always going to have the one person out of 100 who's going to push back on it. And, you know, we get it all the time on social media, people negging on posts and things. I mean, I'd heard of someone who was a company that we deal with over in Australia that we know quite well, which is a sales training business. And they'd had a direct message from someone going, why are you trying to sell during this period of time? Do you not know there's a global crisis going on? And we're great believers that if the sales industry stops completely, then the whole world's going to have a real issue soon, because if no one's buying and nobody's selling, then nothing's moving. So we feel ourselves that what we're doing is actually adding great value. And if one person out of 100 has got a problem with that, has got an issue with that's not going to stop us pushing our products and pushing our services out and helping those other 99 people that we can.
I think just to follow that up, Mark, if you genuinely believe that what you're doing and what this product does adds value and helps people, then get out of your own way, mate, and just take it to market. I think Jill on the chat's raised a really good point that go and speak to your customers about it. The customers you've already got, go and speak to them about the product that you have. If they give you the green light, Sorry, mate.
It has gone down really well with them, but we were scared of doing that. It just feels like,
mate, do it. Just get it out there. The reality is, at the minute, there are still lots of businesses with lots of products and services that add real value to people. And like Finchy said, if we all stop, this whole thing grinds to a halt. And people still need our help. People still need some of our services. And it comes back to the ego and empathy thing that I talked about earlier in the call. Be empathetic to their situation, but you have to have enough confidence in what you do that you add value to them. Because actually, businesses, there is an amount of the economy at the minute that is growing, and all of a sudden that growth has been termed profiteering. No one's trying to profiteer from Corona. We're just trying to navigate our way around it, and that doesn't mean we should all stop and stand back and go, well, I'm going to stop offering what I do to people, because they still need it, mate. And I would say just have absolute confidence that you're doing it to help people. And if you do that and you do that successfully, you might create some jobs for some of these people that have been made redundant at the back end of this, mate. So if there's opportunities to grow. No,
it's a great point. Thank you.
Belton, get it out of that box, Mark. Get it out of that box.
Talking about.
There was a question up above. Sorry, guys. Leon had a question about account-based marketing. I don't know whether you want to address that. And Neil Welsh is quoting Vanilla Ice, I think, with "Stop, collaborate, and listen." You're going to sing it for us, Neil?
Please.
Leon, sorry, what was your question? I apologize. I'm struggling on the feed at the moment. Do you want to unmute your mic and come on?
Yeah, sure. It wasn't really a question as such. It was more of a
Are you
comment.
HMC Calverley?
It's actually Wakefield. This just to be accurate, but yeah, it went with the day one haircut, everyone. So. So no, it was more of an observation, and being in marketing, we talk about account-based marketing, which is you're selling to an organisation as well as the people in that organisation. And I think you've covered all the points that I would raise really well. In that you have got the sponsor of a project that has got some demands and requirements and interests, and then you've got the different influencers down that chain, each of which are interested in in our industry in technology and the impacts on the business and the impacts on their sales process. And then you might have an FD in a business that's interested in cost and value, and mainly cost and what the bottom line is. So what we talk about is making sure when we're dealing with a larger organisation with lots of stakeholders, make sure you include all of those in the marcoms. And at a really basic level, if you're mixing marketing and sales, make sure that you're adding all of those different individuals into CRM. If you can tailor your messaging, if you've got the ability and bandwidth to tailor messaging for those different individuals, then do so. So that's just the notion of account-based marketing.
I think just getting more intimate with people and it's a great opportunity to get to know people better, like you say, and it's the old adage, people buy from people, and every sales process ultimately is still human to human, even through digital channels. There is still a human to human element to that, because we're conversing with and sharing messages with other human beings, right? And the better we get to know them, the more accurate we can be, and the more we can get the tone and the vocabulary right to those individuals. And there's never been a better time, because we've got more time to get to know those individuals in your accounts, rather than selling to a business, like you say, selling to the 5 or 10 or 15 individuals in the business, by getting to understand them a bit better and what their interests are.
Completely agreed.
And I think as a bit of a takeaway, guys, I mean, this is for everyone in the group. If you have a look after we finished on this call, if you take your pipeline and just have a look at what you've got in there at the moment, one of the best things that you could do today is look at the thing that it might have a really high value next to it. It might be something that you're pretty sure is going to go through. It might be something that you're confident you can push through and get to deal stage. Have a look at the different stakeholders or the different people that might be involved in that, and really focus on that one thing. And it's the difficulty here between putting all your eggs in one basket, but also using your time effectively. And I'm seeing that we're spreading our time over so many different things at the moment, rather than going for the things that are actually going to give us the biggest results and get us the best back from that. So let's just have a look. Any more questions on here that you can see, Simon? Sorry, I've not.
Jan Evans, do you want to unmute your mic and put your question directly to Richard and Jonathan?
Morning, Jan.
Morning, geeks.
How are we?
Yeah, good, thanks, pal. Yeah, we probably had our best month ever. It's been insane. Absolutely flying. However, our suppliers have all shifted overnight to payments up front for the hardware. And our clients aren't now paying. Have you any tips how to get that money out of them?
Send the boys round.
Yeah, send the lads round. Yeah. Me and Fury are doing night calls if you want. We're not very hard looking, but yeah, we'll
I mean, one of them's likely to want some more kit, so I can kind of use that to leverage. But beyond that, I'm a little bit lost.
I mean, for me, Jan, you've got two options really here. I mean, one is to look at another way of financing that kit. So, I mean, this is going sort of outside sales knowledge, and from a finance perspective, I'm the wrong person to speak to. We wanted to speak to someone who could look at you from a financing perspective to help you see you through that period. Because I'm guessing from what you're saying there, it's just going to be a gap in payment. You're talking 30 or 60-day actual physical money out that you've spent before you get money in. What your other way is, and again, looking at what we were talking about before, you are in a position of power here if they have asked you for that kit and gone, we need this kit at the moment. Yeah. So I think the thing that we always think as in a sales role is we have to bend over backwards and go, of course, I'll sort that for you. Yeah, let me go and see if I can get that. Do you want a silver spoon with that? Anything else that you get with that? We're in that position of power for us to be able to go, do you know what, I can't offer you that. And in essence, this is just a form of negotiation. But if you keep giving and keep giving and keep giving, eventually they're going to take and take and take and take. And it's just knowing what your level is to stop that. If you can bankroll it and finance it, absolutely fine. I'd be saying to the client, do you know what? We don't really do this. This isn't something that we're set up for. And especially at the moment, I will do it on this occasion, but I want from you and asking for something back. You can end up just giving too much and giving too much and giving too much in a deal, and you've nothing left to give. So if you're going to give something, make a mini deal with them. Go, I will do that for you, but you're going to have to purchase 5 more of these at the same time, because from my perspective, I'm going to be out of that money for this amount of time. So it's got to be a bigger order value, or you're going to have to make sure that you place your next order within a month. I don't know what that thing would be that you'd need back, but have a think about something that they could do for you, and make them a mini deal on it rather than just agreeing for it straight away.
Yeah, I think in terms of the specific terms, Jan, we're not the right people to advise you on that. But I think what I would say in terms of the tone of conversation you're having with people, I'd go back to what I said earlier in the call about the whole ego and empathy thing. I think there's enough. You need to empathise with those clients' situation. Are they not paying because they can't, or they're not paying because they won't? And there's a big difference on that. And I think having empathy for people's situation is massively important. However, the other side of the seesaw, like I said earlier, is the ego side. You've still got your business to run, and you've still got terms of how you want to do business. I've actually, Jonathan doesn't know this, I've actually declined a piece of business this morning because somebody didn't want to do it anywhere, not even close to our normal terms of business. And I was willing to bend a bit, but ultimately there comes a point where you run a business, you have your way of doing things, and be empathetic towards a situation in those conversations that you're having with your tone of voice with them. But ultimately, you still get a choice. I think that's what Jonathan was saying, right? Which comes on this ego thing of, as sellers of stuff, we don't have to sell it to everyone. Like, we do get a choice over who our customers are and who our customers are not. And sometimes it can be a better decision to make to decide to not have that person as a customer, because it's an extra user, it's an extra person with your tech, but if they ain't paying you, then what's the point?
So I suppose the final, we've got probably time for one more that I just wanted to pick up on there. Amanda Hasson, similarly, I have campaigns underway which are for new business prospects. Amanda, could you just unmute your mic and we'll try and take this one quite quickly.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi there. Sorry, my camera doesn't work on my laptop, so that's why you can't see me.
Still got your PJs on, Amanda, haven't you?
I'm dressed, I promise. Yeah, so I know a gentleman mentioned before about his new project or offering to customers. Obviously, we're all working to our plans for 2020, and as a marketing manager, I've got a couple of campaigns underway, but I do feel a bit hesitant in getting the sales team to follow these up, especially with them being new prospects, so they're not people who have dealt with us previously.
Is this not a better time than any to be making those new prospects and new conversations with those people? Because you've two options here. You either don't do any marketing, which in turn will mean that the sales team have got nothing to follow up on, or you go, this is a really good time for us to be doing that. There's more people that are going to be at home, and this is a perfect time for us to be helping other people. What is it that you offer, Amanda, as a product?
We offer software solutions to food manufacturers. So some of our customers are in touch, obviously, with the current climate. This sector was smaller food producers, which, is concerning for a lot of the smaller businesses at the moment. So it's kind of I feel a bit on the fence almost, because we're seeing these smaller businesses closing. But as you say, there could be some opportunities there.
I think that. Sorry. I was going to say, I think that in terms of the customers that you serve, right? There's obviously a lot of headlines at the minute about certain elements of I suppose of the food industry that's been hit, certainly for supplying restaurants, etc. But we've got a whole population of people that are at home still need to eat, so they still need to produce product. And actually, I suppose certainly if they're UK-based producers as well, the way it looks at the moment is a lot less food's going to get imported, and we're moving to eating more seasonal foods in the UK over the next 12, 18 months. These guys will need your support. And I think if you look back to, I suppose the last sort of financial challenges that we had, apart from all the Brexit stuff that happened, was back in 2008 with when the banking crisis hit. The businesses that grew and recovered quickest out of that invested the most in sales and marketing. They marketed their way through that. It's cheaper often to do it now. There's a lot of Leon's probably the better guy to talk about this stuff, to be fair, but there's a lot of marketing channels where you bid and you pay him, you bid him for clicks and you bid him for audience, and potentially that's going to get cheaper if other brands and other competitors of yours have pulled out. So I think if you have got budget, I would be looking to use that. It will probably go a bit further right now.
Yeah, definitely. I think I took the point earlier around, customers doing a lot of research at the moment. So I do think that's definitely a positive for us at the moment.
So I suppose, guys, we probably best wrap it up at that and hand back over to Simon in a second. I suppose just before we do go, I want to say both from myself and from Richard a massive thank you to all of you for coming on today. You've probably noticed that we have just launched the Sales Geek Hub, which is a sales trainer and community in your pocket. We're doing quite a lot of stuff at the moment similar to this, to try and bring people together. We are offering a discount code for anyone who wants to get on the Hub who's part of our immediate community. So if you go on the Sales Geek website and click on Hub and type in Geek Life with a capital GEEKLIFE, so all in capitals, Geek Life, but that will offer you lifetime membership for the Hub for £5 per month. The other thing that I want to talk to you guys about, we are also running, you've probably seen it, but it's the Sales Geek Huddle, very similar to this, not quite as interactive because it's more of a webinar that we're running. But for salespeople in the morning, we know one of the most difficult things is getting into some form of routine at the moment. So we've opened that up. That's completely free of charge for people to come on. It runs from 8:30 until 9 o'clock in the morning. It's myself running it at the moment, but we will be switching that up and other geeks will be doing on there. But that's half an hour of content, motivation, professional development to get you guys pumping in the morning. So I'll get, I think Debbie's going to drop a link through with both of those things on there. But two things that you could take advantage of there that we're both running. Anything else from you, Rich?
Mate, I think you smashed it. No, just a thank you. No, I think we've still got 83 people on the call. I think it peaked at sort of nearly 90 people. Just hats off to you guys for wanting to invest the time in some education. Hopefully, you've had some value from what we've said and the questions that have been asked today. That's what this is all about. We just want to help, I guess, at the moment. That's our business, is to help other people. So yeah, I guess that doesn't have to stop now. If Jonathan's talked about the hub and the huddle, but if you need anything at all, any of you guys need anything, most of you guys are in our immediate network or on LinkedIn. Just drop me a note. I've got more time now to help. So if you need any help, just drop us a note. But yeah, other than that, over to Simon.
And thank you, Richard. Can we have a virtual round of applause for Richard and Jonathan? Thank you, guys. Silenced because everyone's muted. I'll draw your attention finally to chamberlive.co.uk, which has got the list of upcoming events. There are a couple of events in there over the coming months, one in April and one in May from PM&M and from Forbes that will tackle that cash flow situation and debts and contract terms. So please do look at what we've got, our upcoming list of events through April and May. Do sign up for them, but also don't be shy of suggesting to myself or Debbie or Darren or Neil topics that you'd like to see covered in future editions of Chamber Live. We're going to put most of today's event live because someone, I can't think who, forgot to press record at the beginning. Can't see anyone else to blame for that. But we will be putting most of today's event live on YouTube shortly. And don't forget the Coronavirus Hub. If for any information about your business and the latest government position, that's updated on a daily basis. We'll see you at the next Chamber Live event. Thanks, guys. Thanks, geeks. Take care.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers, everybody.